My dear friends, today we celebrate the fourth Sunday in the season of Easter. The fourth Sunday in the season of Easter is often called the Good Shepherd Sunday. This is because the psalm that we read and the gospel reading this weekend highlight shepherding as the very nature of God, as expressed in the life of Jesus Christ, the Good Shepherd. Coincidentally, this weekend, we celebrate the joy of the election of the new Pope, Leo XIV, and we pray may God bless him with a shepherd's heart to lead his people. Many people are familiar with the footprints prayer, which read, "One night I had a dream. I dreamed I was walking along the beach with the Lord, and across the sky flashed scenes from my life. For each scene, I noticed sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to me, and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of my life flashed before us, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. I noticed that many times along the path of my life, there was only one set of footprints. I also noticed that it happened at the very lowest and saddest time in my life. This really bothered me, and I questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you will walk with me all the way. But I have noticed that during the most troublesome time in my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why in times when I needed you the most, you should leave me by myself." The Lord replied, "My precious child, I love you, and I would never leave you during your times of trials and sufferings. When you saw the only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you." My dear friends, today we reflect on the person of Jesus Christ, who devotedly and kindly takes care of his flock. He is the shepherd who watches over the one flock, which is the church. He knows all his sheep, and he is willing to die to protect his sheep. He walks along with his sheep, and the wounded one he carries on his shoulders. In identifying himself as the Good Shepherd, Jesus alluded to the Old Testament image of God. Whenever the people in the Old Testament said, "The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want," it recalled the proper name of God that was revealed to Moses. That is, "I am who am," the one who was, who is, and who will be. In this self-revelation, God promised to be with his people, Israel, to bless, to protect, and to redeem them. Although through the history of Israel, God appointed leaders from time to time to shepherd his people on his behalf. These leaders, as human beings, were all flawed in different ways. Hence, God promised that he would do away with the self-absorbed shepherds and rescue his people by shepherding them himself. "I myself will search for my sheep and will seek them out. I will rescue them from all places where they have been scattered." Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 11 to 12. God's promise of shepherding his people by himself is fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. And thus we read, "For God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him will have life eternal." John chapter 3, verse 16. Notice that the life, passion, death, and resurrection of Christ demonstrate how God is a good shepherd in different ways. Throughout his life, Jesus presents himself to a wounded world as a reliable companion who is the way, the truth, and life, and the path that leads to God. He loved people who were wounded. He interacted with harlots, tax collectors, and thieves. He touched the lepers, healed the sick, freed the possessed, and raised the dead. And after his resurrection, he shepherds the broken and isolated disciples. Like a gardener, he spoke to the grieving Mary Magdalene. Like a stranger, he walked with the despairing disciples on the road to Emmaus. Like a kindly spirit, he appeared to his frightened disciples, locked behind closed doors and wishing them peace. And he shows up with Paul on the road to Damascus. There are different ways that a good shepherd shows up to meet his people. My dear friends, the Easter message is that Jesus is alive, and he's alive here and now. He meets us in our different situations and talks to us, and there is power in his voice. His voice is transforming. With his voice, Jesus raised Lazarus. With his voice, he forgave the woman caught in adultery. With his voice, he invited the thief to a life in paradise. He continues to speak his words today. Although there are so many voices in our world trying to overshadow the voice of the Good Shepherd, he speaks. Yes, he speaks through the scriptures. He speaks through the tradition and the sacraments of the church. But how can we recognize and respond to the voice of the Good Shepherd? Let me suggest something. To be able to hear and recognize his voice, we have to build a relationship with him. Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that faith in God is about security or it's about material satisfaction. But what if I say that faith is not primarily about material gain, but a relationship? When Jesus says, "My sheep hear my voice, and no one can take them from my hand," I guess he refers to the deep relationship that he shares with us. It is the amount of value we place on this relationship that will draw guidance, strength, and hope from him. And his voice will then make miracles to happen in our life. Let us listen to Jesus speak again. "My precious child, I love you, and I would never, never leave you during your times of trial and suffering. When you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you." Friend, did you ever feel the Good Shepherd carrying you? Maybe we need to think deeper. And God bless you.